Hello and greetings from Lunch Therapy. Welcome to Lunch Therapy. This is Interview Friday. Today I've got my co-pilot here. We are going to have an incredible guest today, Kira Noa, who is one of the premier artists of the LA clown scene, but also just an incredible performance artist throughout the world. We're going to hear her story. We're going to hear a little bit about what's going on in her life, and we're going to maybe even understand something called psychedelic clown. Let's get into this thing. It's called Lunch Therapy. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 All right, welcome everybody. We're here in the Lunch Therapy studios, and things are really popping around here. We've got hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are the people in the chat room of the show. So good to see you. Pam Palmieri is here. Hoy. Greetings from Michigan. Yeah, Pam, we're going to get farther into this idea of clown. We've had a lot of great clowns on the show. Still, the question is, what is clown? Is clown like a guy with a red nose on his face? Yeah, that's clown. What else is clown? And what's the difference between performance art, clown theater, and improvisation? Jason Edelman is here. President. He is the president. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I wanted to mention before we get into the show that one of our favorite people is starring in Cabaret at the Nocturne Theater in Glendale? Anyway, this is it. Kayla Fast, who stars in the Netflix Doesn't Care video, which is my sizzle reel. She's just one of my favorite actors, and she's in this thing called Cabaret. Many of you know the play Cabaret. And it's at the Nocturne Theater. There's a link in the show notes. Opens tonight, so break a leg, Kayla Fast. Should be seeing that show soon. Now we're going to breathe on the show. Lunch Therapy, a lot of you know, we breathe at the beginning of the show. We take in 3 deep breaths. The guest is in the green room with my assistant, Boney. She is enjoying breathing as well. So in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Equal means equal says all politicians are clowns. It seems like it, doesn't it? In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Camel and I are talking about going to the Cabaret show on Friday, June 21st. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. Behind me is Soul Resonance, the Soul Resonance. It's a channel on YouTube. You can go there anytime you want. Get relaxed. I'm more relaxed now that I breathed. Jason Edelman, who's going to see Buckethead at the Wiltern tonight? That sounds intriguing. All right, let's just thank the Patreons. Thank you to all the Patreons out there. We couldn't do this show without you. Mike Knox, Todd Lee, Camila Lopez, Robert Lopez, Jay Patterson, one of the regulars on the show, Pam Palmieri, Neil Phillip, and Seth Word. Oh, and also Mary Marks. Yes, a couple of clowns there at the end. These are marmosets behind me for your enjoyment. I hope that you enjoy those as much as I. And thank you all to the subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button as many times as you can. I don't know why. It's the craziest thing, but it makes a big difference. All right, let's get into this interview. Hello. As usual, I am in over my head with this guest. She is an incredible artist, a true artist in visual arts and theater. She has gained experience doing circus performing as well as various dance, movement, and improvisation techniques. I've been watching videos of hers, and I'll show some on the show today. And it's just extraordinary work. It is really pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable in our modern day society, and it's just great. It's mind expanding. Her performances and other works were presented in various global contemporary art galleries and institutions, including the Pompidou in Paris, MoMA, PS1, the Kitchen, the Sculpture Center, and the Swiss Institute in New York, Hauser and Wirth in Zurich and New York. We just visited the Hauser and Wirth gallery here in Los Angeles last weekend. The Appel curatorial program in Amsterdam, Contemporary Art Center in Vilnius, Lithuania. She's also participated in various contemporary art and dance festivals. It's really quite amazing. She's also a teacher. She's a therapist. She helps other artists get out of their own boxes and expand their mind and their creativity. And I am just totally inspired by her. She's a big part of the LA clown scene. She leads a thing called Psychedelic Clown Workshops, where clown techniques are used to get artists in a more creative space naturally, letting go of their, I guess, their societal restraints and kind of getting out of their brains and into their bodies. So she has over 30,000 hours of practice consulting with artists in psychology and healing, and she helps people with their stage presence. And taking stage presence, I need some help with that. And being in their own like power. So, and also finding the creativity that is not freed, because, you know, I know a lot of you realize this as artists. It's like you want to be this well of creativity, and sometimes things kind of get in the way. Sometimes things are blocking that. Sometimes you have voices in your head that are telling you that you're not good enough or whatever. I want to talk to her about this stuff. So let's get into this thing. Interview Friday with Kira Noa.
This workshop is based on the principles of Japanese physical theater, where we are moving and playing games in certain patterns and rhythms that eventually create a disorganized brain effect, also known as psychedelic state, which is of course a very restorative and healing place to be.
That's fun.
All right. Welcome, Kira Noa.
Hello.
So great to see you.
Yeah. It's so nice. It's so kind of you to actually do such nice research and such awesome summary of what I do, and really quite precise. Really, I feel very, very grateful.
Well,
you know?
I am just very impressed by your work. I am amazed by your freedom. A friend of mine told me about you, Gina Kelly. She was in one of your workshops. And she and I are in acting class together. And I asked her about Psychedelic Clown, because one of the things sometimes we talk about on this show is I'm afraid of like psychedelics and doing like acid and that kind of thing. And this apparently like puts you into a kind of a psychedelic state through clown. And I asked Gina about that. I texted her and I was like, did you have a psychedelic state? And I thought she was going to like say, well, maybe sometimes. She was like, yes. And she sent me this audio recording describing it. And it did sound otherworldly or mind expanding. Can you tell us a little bit about this Psychedelic Clown Workshop?
Yeah, absolutely. And my pleasure. And again, really, thank you so much for your curiosity, because being like a foreigner that comes from all the way other side of the world, and to be understood in another country, and to have interest from people from US, it's really a blessing, and it really feels like a gift for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, it's my pleasure to tell you about the workshop. The workshop. So we have, let's put it this way, simply. What happens on psychedelics and why it is so awesome when that happens. In a way, at first it creates this disorganized brain effect, like where the certain compartments of the brain begin to be active at once in ways that they are not in a regular state, right? And then it kind of pushes you through a certain transformation, and you suddenly arrive to a state of clarity, bliss, like suddenly maybe there are insights. It's not necessarily like tripping where you see weird things, but it's that kind of state of like I'm in another dimension. My state is shifted, but I feel mischievous, I feel free, I feel clarity. And the thing is that there are techniques that's being used by, and I've studied myself those techniques and practiced it a lot. There are techniques used by Mexican shamans, by Japanese practitioners of physical theater, and also Lithuanian. I'm from Lithuania.
Yes.
And it's also actually one of the last countries. No, it is the last country in Europe that got baptized, meaning that we preserved our pagan traditions very much. So, like, if you really want to know what the shamanic tradition of, let's say, of European root of shamanic tradition, then go to Lithuania.
Really? I spent a summer in Lithuania, and I did find it to be sort of a magical place. I was surprised at how much forest there was there. And I was in Vilnius, and it was a very particular time for, I think it was around 97 or something like that. And it was a very particular time for Lithuania because they were kind of becoming more into their own again. And but yeah, you say there's a shamanic tradition there.
No, in a way, yeah. But let me. I just want to finish too. Like, so there are in all of these traditions. Let's even if we take Mexican traditions, right? Plants or even mushrooms or whatever, they are used usually as a gateway, maybe once, twice, but it's not meant to be like, and from now on, let's go on ayahuasca every weekend. It's like, it is something that you maybe, if you need to, you do a little bit. But other than that, the study is to learn to get into those states naturally. And the way you can do it, our brain can do it, like, and not even our brain, but our bodies can do it. And it doesn't have any side effects, and it actually is incredibly restorative, freeing, and like people do experience psychological rebirth. They really do experience another level of lightness after these practices. And it is different forms of movement in also activating that kind of disorganized brain effect. And also laughter, and also clowning, and it's like a cocktail of those things.
It's so interesting. Pam Palmieri says this is so fascinating. Sign me up. Kamala says Vilnius the youth has been studied as the happiest place in the world. There was an article about Lithuania saying it was one of the happiest places in the world. That's interesting. I
haven't lived there in a long time, but I guess I'm spreading the happiness.
Yeah, you are. How now? So the question is, how easy is it to get? Because Los Angeles is a place where everybody. I feel like a lot of times everybody's striving for a product that they can sell, and they don't feel. I think for the most part, we feel like we can't really fail. If we get to that place where everybody sees something that we do, it's really hard to fail. And there's also this feeling of like, I don't want to look stupid. How do you get past the social norms that people have in these kind of workshops? Is it difficult or is it easy?
Social norms, there is one, my favorite way to pass all of this is to treat my students. Like someone said it so well. They said that as soon as the workshop starts, I treat everyone like they are 4-year-olds, and I'm a 7-year-old. And it's like you immediately, because there is that inside of you, you know. If I will feel like, well, come over here now, but remember, you know, and it's naturally you begin, and then you kind of dog under all of those social norms at first, and that's why I keep the word clown in the title of my workshop, to make sure that people know that they're coming there to not take themselves seriously to begin with, you know, because I also could say healing workshop, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my acting teacher, Ivana Chubbuck, says that all the great performances, the person is a child. In all the great movie performances, the actor has found the inner child in themselves. Do you think it's difficult for us adults to get back to our inner child, or is this a pathway?
You know, let's put it this way. It's not easy, for sure. Yes, of course. And there are so many layers that we need to cleanse and take a look at. What I am trying to do in my workshops is to really confuse the brain enough and to laugh enough and to actually change environment where people are. Like, we have workshops at sundown in the mountains in Santa Monica, right? So already like the rug like was pulled from under the feet, you know. There is like, oh, okay, wait, and now it's dark, and now we are going up, and now the hikers are there, and you are doing this strange workshop. Like so the more there are like confusions, the faster the person can drop their conditioning, you know. And because I'm first of all an artist and I love innovating form, and second of all I can say like I'm an educator and pedagogue. I have 12 years of teaching in art academies. So it's something that I like to find ways to teach that would throw people out of their boxes naturally.
I love that. Like, you're almost like tricking the mind, like to go off, you know, somewhere, so that you can. Do you think that there's a lot of creativity that's in the body that's not in the mind?
Yeah, there is a lot of creativity there in the body, but mostly it's actually in each person's. As soon as we can reach our uniqueness, like as soon as you can actually come closer to who you really are, that's when that stream of otherworldly ideas begin to pour.
That's, you know, when I was a kid, like in high school, we came up with this club called the Myth Club, and our mission statement was to get people who take themselves too seriously to make fun of people who take themselves too seriously, which was mainly we were trying to knock them off their pins so they'd be like more in reality and less like in this construct that they have. So we would go around doing strange things, like we'd take an ice cream cone, we'd buy an ice cream cone at the McDonald's and then we'd smush it in our face. Or we'd do things like that, just to public things to confuse people. And we were always trying to find something that made no sense. So the thing that we came up with, which is now called planking, where you lay face down on the ground, that was the thing that we invented back then, because it made absolutely no sense. Do you find that people's minds are trying to make sense of everything and you're trying to kind of break that tether?
Yeah, that for sure. But also, for me, if we are talking about my workshops, I also treat it as a very delicate ecosystem, because I work also as a healer and therapist. And I know that if I have a group of people who signed up in order to, let's say, unleash their inner wild or something like this. Yeah. Of course, I can bring them through the experience where they will be roaring like animals and ripping their like clothes on and don't know, like drooling all over trees, you know. Yeah. But at the end, you know, they will have that sense of freedom for 1-2 days, and they'll be back feeling the way they did.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a lot more delicate process where we are really peeling layers. We even do practices that really don't seem like that come from movement oriented therapy, where we are restoring a sense of like missing maternal love through the body. Wow. You know, in order to arrive to that place of bliss, which is also really funny because maybe you heard that, but maybe because of the title or because I'm foreign, but there is a certain fear to take my workshops in LA. Like, people are like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
And every time when I always laugh so much because first and foremost for us is to create a very delicate, very kind of caring, childlike ecosystem of the project of the weekend.
Yeah.
And at the end of that weekend, we all like belly laugh, and there is like a sense of complete love and surrender between all of the people.
Yeah, there's a kind of a bonding experience when you kind of let yourself go with a group of people. Also, Gina talked about there was a kind of a collective consciousness that she felt. She felt like people were. She was talking very specifically about some dolphins that she was seeing. And then there were other people saying, are the dolphins like this and are they like that? And she was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, they are. And she felt like they were having like a collective consciousness a little bit.
We work through visions a lot, and those visions are comedic and psychedelic. And someone actually described my workshops as someone is shooting a film in their heads and streaming it live through their body. And it happens like in the dark on the mountain, you know. But
wow.
That's
incredible. One of our viewers says, it's very interesting. I worked with the Polish director Jerzy Grotowski, and I wondered if you're familiar with his objective drama work and how it relates to what you're doing.
You know, I don't know objective drama, but I know Grotowski, of course, and I really obviously admire his work ethics, and I really admire and let's say take into account how he works with how he worked with his actors and his troupe.
Yeah.
As well as for me, what I share with Grotowski is that there should be no boundaries between theater and life, and that's how like his shows were reviewed like that also. That it's not acting, it's life.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to achieve also with my work.
Okay, let me get in. I'm going to play a clip from something called Idiot's Expedition. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. 5% idiocy. Now 20%. 30%. 40%. 45%. 55%. 75%. 75% and going up 88%. 88%. 88%. Yeah. 88, 92%. 92%. 92%. Yes, and now 100%. 100%.
Okay. So I want to hear about this, but I understand that you go out in public and create confusion. Is this right? I mean, tell me about it. Yeah, there are more layers to it.
Yes. So at the moment I'm working with a filmmaker from Norway, Ignas Krunglevičius, and we are shooting film series that are called The Idiots. And I have a troupe called also The Idiots, obviously. Yeah. And we do two things, or we are developing at the moment two things. One is the immersive theater show, and the other thing is these film series.
Yeah.
And now these film series are in a way our behind the scenes, let's say, preparation process for the immersive theater, but at the same time, it really is our lifestyle. We do that every weekend, and not everything we film, like a lot of it is just like little snippets, because it's just much is going on. But maybe let me give you a background of what we're doing there, because on the one hand, in the short snippets, you can think, oh, great, we are like freaking out, whatever.
Right.
But there is system and choreography to all of that.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there are very hard rules. Number one is that usually the people would not consider it a performance. So the way we are behaving is that we won't make a show out of ourselves. That's number one. Number two is that whatever we are doing, it has to kind of suck people into the action. So whatever it is, we have to be open and seductive. So it's not some kind of like flash mob or performance or something like that I sincerely dislike, because I think it disrupts the natural fabric of society. So our goal is to always engulf. It's not to penetrate, it's to like really to engulf, and we always typically we go to places that are very rigid, that the social norms are so idiotically rigid that in itself it's a circus. You know, like when you go to a place like Chateau Marmont, or you go to a place like Beverly Hills Hotel, where Jesus Christ, it's this like 5-star experience. You go to like a very fancy gallery opening. Everyone is a clown over there already. They all are already in roles. There's theatricality. And now there are like two strategies. On the one hand, you can play a low status clown, which I'm not interested in. Or you can play a high status clown. You can come in and immediately propose such over-the-top eccentricity that it kind of clearly speaks of your power and status. And then from there onwards, for you to convince other important people to join in, for instance, holding hands now suddenly, or laying under the painting, becomes easier and easier and easier, because like, let's say as one of my actors does, he is a curator from Germany who doesn't even give last name. Like that's how famous he considers himself to be. And everyone, you know, it's like, it's not nice to lose the face, so everybody's like, Gunther.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know his work.
Right.
Of course I know his work. Yes.
But
that's great.
And then, so the other thing is that what we do, we create a very kind of delicate, again, chaos. And chaos almost like a musical composition. So there are 8 actors that are constantly pulsing different rhythms in a public space. Wow. So if you are, for instance, in an opening, or if you are in a hotel, let's say lobby or something like that, you don't know why, but that's exactly the same psychedelic experience. You don't know why. At some point you're like, what the fuck is happening tonight? Like, why is everyone drunk? Because one person is high pitch and really fast. Somebody else is really low tone. Someone is super seductive. Someone is laying down, but it always within the codes of normality still.
Yeah.
Until like you kind of raise the I would say like liquidity of the environment to the point where people would arrive to the point of transformation, where they could actually, let's say, tip over into being idiots with us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you're transforming the people in the space as well as the scene of the space.
Yeah, definitely. Environment, atmosphere, and whoever kind of catches, engulfs us. We also are trying not to push it on anyone. Like if people really want to stay out of the game, we would never like force or any kind of confrontations. It's seduction, a lot of seduction, and a lot of literal, like, incredibly over the top sexual stuff.
Really?
Like, I mean, seductive movements.
Yeah.
You know, like erotic dance, when it is genuine and misplaced, is also clown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I was surprised when I started getting into the clown movement how much there was also a sexual element of it, because people don't think of clowns that way. I don't think. I mean, clowns has tipped into a place where people are afraid of them and all that stuff, but also they don't, for some reason, see that. But then once you get in this environment, you see all these different aspects of clown, and also all the different styles, and the different, like you say, statuses and ways of approaching it. And it's very intense. I have been just really bowled over by what's going on with this work. Really.
Yeah.
Like somehow. Yeah, somehow. Okay, I want to ask you some more. So, I do want to play a clip here. I want to mention. I want to play one of the clips of some of your work called Apricot Juice, just to see. Yeah, I want to explore this.
I have to dance. I have to dance.
Wow, that is intense. That is so intense. So a lot of your performances, I think it really challenges what we think of a play or a show that we go see. And there are a lot of things you do visually are really stick in the head, but also I think hit us on a different level than just intellectually. How do you come up with something like this? Because there's so many different possibilities. How do you develop a show? Because you've done multiple shows in multiple galleries and places all around the world. How do you develop something like this? Because it seems like there's a myriad of possibilities.
You know, my question to you would be, like, for instance, I could answer this question.
Yeah.
But what use would it be for what would be, how
like this.
Useful it would be for you or for anyone else to know what's my method?
Oh, interesting. I'm glad you've posed a question to me. I think because, okay, and I've got an answer for that, because I think that a lot of artists, we are so interested in so many different things that sometimes it's very difficult to pick an idea or a thing that we're drawn to and then stick with it.
100%.
Yeah. And so I think you answering maybe that question or some aspect of that question might help our viewers and myself to maybe understand how to do that.
Yeah, let's actually look into that. Because it's true. Like, let's say, let's put it this way. So the more talented the artist is, the more it's almost like a formula. Every very, very talented person will have a lot of ideas, and those ideas, pretty much all ideas, will be great. And the muscle that's incredibly weak is to choose and then to stick to it and then to finalize.
Yeah.
So that's the muscle that typically is out of shape. How do you strengthen that muscle?
Yeah.
And first actually thing to do, like literally the first and most important thing to do, is to cut information, the consumption of information.
Oh.
Yeah, and very cold turkey and rather harsh. For instance, if you are at the moment working on, let's say, a big show, or you want to develop a solo show, or you want to like really come to, don't know, you want to have a breakthrough and you feel like your wheels are spinning, the first thing to do is to stop consuming information, ideally. Meaning like no podcast, sorry, or at least something very, but for like it's an information diet. That's not the one thing to do. No books, no nothing, except for you can do music, you can go look at the other art, you can see other shows, maybe topically you can watch a film here and there. And then what it does, it actually, first of all, it releases at least 70 to 80% of brain space for you to begin to hear yourself.
Wow.
Because at the moment, I would give you at least 80% of the artists are not thinking their own thoughts. They are not actually having their own ideas. And that's why they are lacking success. Be it, for instance, actors who are trying to be casted. They are basically trying to be someone else. They are not trying to be themselves. And the number one thing to do is to clear the unnecessary layer of information. And if you think that's easy, but it's not at all. Like I've led this club, Power Trip Club online, where I have a group of artists that I'm coaching. And we did it for 1 month or maybe even for a week. I think we did information diet and everybody were writing what they were feeling, and legit people were having withdrawal symptoms. Really? Like the first week, it's like something like that. But later, like they started feeling bored. And you know, the number one thing to creativity is boredom.
What do you mean the number one thing?
What?
What do you mean the number one thing to creativity is boredom?
Number one thing to, like, for you to start having ideas. Like, remember when you were a kid and you are bored? I grew up in the Soviet Union. I had no toys. And I made them myself, you know?
Yeah.
I would make some kind of dolls out of strings. We made dolls out of plants because it was bored.
Yeah. We made things out of sticks, for sure.
Yeah, because you need boredom at first. You need emptiness. That's the number one thing. And number second thing, then you need energy. And actually consuming a lot of information takes a lot of your energy. A lot. The brain actually consumes more energy than jogging.
Yeah.
So after like a week or 2 weeks, you will start having a lot more energy actually. And magic will happen. Like really, like this is of course a test to willpower, but
especially these days because we have so much entertainment or information at our fingertips everywhere. We can even be in line at the DMV, which is the most boring place possible, and be entertained by our phones or whatever. I think you're really onto something with that. You mentioned that you have the, what'd you call it? Power Trip Club.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's true. So Power Trip Club is at the moment actually both my workshops and the club is on pause because I'm developing the idiots. But it will reopen again most probably either August or September, like a little bit later. So for now, I know lots of people are super upset because it's super good program and I like it a lot, but I need to focus on my creative stuff. But Power Trip Club is a very affordable platform for artists, and I create curriculum there. It's a month-long program. No, actually, it's a month-to-month, a year-long program that you can resign every month. And I do like these special somatic exercises that are unlocking people's creativity. We support each other in chat. I record certain like audio techniques again to recenter, clear yourself, and through all of that. We play different games that also blend like both movement-oriented therapy, creative tasks, theater, and also energetic work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what is the goal of that, or is there a goal? I mean, can you say like the goal of doing that kind of work? Is it to get better stage presence? Is it to unlock creativity, or is it all of these things?
You know, I worked, as I said to you before, for 12 years in academies, like
Yes.
even longer.
Yeah.
In art, mostly in Scandinavia.
You're a
And
prolific teacher. You've been teaching. I don't even know how you have time to even learn all these things, because it's, you know, just amazing all the different things that you're doing. But yes, so you were a teacher for a long time.
Yeah, and,
formally.
Yeah, formally, like and also my family are teachers. Like
your family is circus performers, right? I mean, I that's the other thing. You're like such a unique individual. Most of us, you know, we're not raised in the circus.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what that's like to have parents that are like circus performers and clowns. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, that'll be balanced afterwards.
Yeah.
So the goal of Power Trip Club is to simulate that which we used to have in art academies when we were there, is to have a group of peers. Every single artist deals with pretty much the same set of, I don't know, 5 or 10 problems. It's like either creative blocks or lethargy or overwhelming amount of work or lack of sex or something else, you know, like,
yeah.
So, and
or even like self-esteem or, you know, that kind of thing too, right?
Yeah. And when you gather together and, you know, like day by day, you are together now with this group, and you know that everyone has very similar issues. Like you, the goal is to, like, because my own psychology is such that I go through cycles. I'm like super productive, and then I have a dip. I'm super productive, then I have a burnout. And I created this club for myself because I know that if I am working with a group, that those gaps, either they will shrink to a size of a day, or maybe I can even, let's say, prevent them from happening. Yeah. So I created this club really also for myself to be disciplined, to actually, it's like a long-term effect of, and I know people who've like really struggled to go on stage and write their comedy special. They with me for like half a year, and then finally they did it, you know, because you really need that kind of support. For like LA people, we have psychedelic breakfasts, psychedelic clown breakfasts, where a month we also like meet up and we laugh, but there are also I lead this kind of funny form of like mastermind sessions where we like give each other rules. Sometimes someone has to sign a contract that they will go and do what they promised to do.
Really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Or else they pay a fine.
Yeah, I think that it's so important to have the kind of groups. I've always found that to have these groups that are supportive, that also will keep you honest. You know what I mean? Keep you on your task or whatever. Sometimes we need that. And also people that are going to challenge you a little bit.
We definitely challenge each other. If
accountability, accountability.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So can people get involved in that, or is that something where you've like carefully picked your group?
You know, at first usually I accept people quite quickly if I see that this is an artist, right?
Yeah.
But then I was a bit strict who can stay in a club for longer, because sometimes people, it's very affordable, so people can just tag along and not really participate. And for instance, just use chat to vent, or there are other reasons why sometimes I feel like that group is not that productive for a person. So sometimes gently I also suggest to take a break. But it's more an exception than a rule. But in that sense, I carefully craft the group of people. But everyone is welcome first.
We have a question.
then
Somebody says, how much is it? I don't know.
it used to be $60 per month. I will see what happens when I will reopen it, because I also want to see if I will continue with the format that I had, or I also see a purpose of having a little bit more hands-on coaching.
Yeah.
So it might be like smaller groups and a little bit more expensive, but everything within the like what I think is very affordable.
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm anemic. So like, don't worry.
I'm going to show one more clip of something called Lord of the Beef, which I think is really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Whoa, that was wild at the end there.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue doing these kind of performances as well as the public performances that you're filming? And
for my solo shows, I think it will be a new chapter a little bit. At the moment, I'm thinking, I see visions how it will look like. But I can tell you that there is one thread that always goes through, let's say, my past performances, also my workshops, and now what I'm working with the group. For me, it is very important to create energetically very dense space, a space that feels like pressure cooker environment almost, or something where we feel very much together, like where you hold attention of people and you create the possibility to transform, because I really want people to walk out of the theater either kinder or more inspired, or really feel like something really deeply opened up in them. And with these performances that I did in the past, back then it was more appropriate to, let's say, do it in a very hardcore, like physically super, like endurance, like with like a lot of physical endurance and everything. At the moment, I feel like the world itself is very harsh already, and I'm not as I'm not leaning towards those expressions as much anymore, because we have a lot of it already. And same with my workshop, there used to be a lot more hardcore, and it became, they are still obviously very deep and everything, but there is another door, that you can you can use a lot more symmetry, harmony, beauty, and kindness with bizarre imagery, with very uncanny, very interesting, mind-opening humor as well. So yeah, I'm leaning towards those qualities.
That's nice. I think that's nice, and we need more of that in the world. Do you have a daily practice that you do? Is there some kind of daily practice in your work that helps you?
I overall same thing. What we work on Power Trip Club is I talk a lot about that we need to get rid of routines. And we need to get rid of things that are like, I always do this in order to do that, because that in a long term closes off our creativity. It actually brings us away from our uniqueness. At first, if the person is super like, let's say, closed off, yeah, sure, we can do like everyday jogging. Or like I would say, like, for 31 days, no information. Okay, but at some point, the goal is to really feel it. Like, you know what? The next 5 days, now I really need to jump on a trampoline every morning. That's it. These other 2 days, I will be writing because I'm feeling it. I don't know, writing and masturbating. Maybe that's what I need. And now, like, I need to take a trip. But it's really a very higher level of feeling yourself at such degree. But in my opinion, that's the only way that a person can arrive to a genuinely unique expression of their work, is to actually also find what is their rhythm, what is their pattern. And at the moment, actually, the only thing that I've kept from my, let's say, educational things is I do one-on-one sessions, and I also work as a healer. And sometimes also direct people or work with them one-on-one physically in a studio, but also with a small amount of people that I can squeeze in at the moment.
I mean, I feel like sometimes people feel like they need structure, but a lot of what you're saying is to kind of break down that structure to open up possibilities.
I need structure, but I don't know, maybe you don't need it.
Oh, I need it.
No, but for instance, I know that I need to learn to be punctual.
Yeah.
But I am learning because, again, I'm like a person from Soviet Union. I'm oh, fantastic. I know that, for instance, I need to wake up. I don't know, what was I gonna say?
We were talking about structure. You need structure. You do need structure.
Yeah, I need structure, but I need to learn not to beat myself over not having structure. I need to find a way to be structured as a form of a game. And also as a form of tenderness and love to myself, and not like, you lazy piece of gluten.
Yes.
Come into,
I know that feeling.
Shape. But we all do the self-beating, and it's the most counterproductive.
It's a waste of energy as well, because your brain is like going over and over and over how like you're not achieving what you should be achieving or doing what you should be doing, and it just wastes energy. It's exhausting sometimes.
It actually smallens you. It makes you. It sort of denies your divine kind of essence.
It's like what happens between two people. If one person is berating the other person, it makes them smaller. And if if you're always like, somebody's always telling you you're wrong, you should be doing this, it makes you smaller. It's the same that happens within you, I suppose, as well. And it's exhausting, and it's hard to battle. And stop it. I'm telling my brain to stop it. Stop it right now. You know, I'm so interested in that idea, though, of organization and structure versus expansion, open to possibilities. It seems like it's a balance, because in order to put together any kind of a performance, you kind of have to organize things. You know, like if you're, like you were saying, if you're doing your Netflix special, you got to organize your comedy. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen, or you feel like you have no control. I think maybe that might be one of the things that is...
you have to organize it, but you also have to organize other areas of your life. The problem with basically every artist is identifying with the fact that they are artists. And we don't even understand how much psychological problems, physical actual diseases that happen in people's bodies, because they don't identify with, let's say I'm just a girl who's having fun in my life. And one of the 8 things that I do is art.
Yes.
And the other one is education. But also I have, let's say, I also love men, and I also love beauty, and I also love travel, and I also love my friends, and I also love playing darts, you know, and horseback riding.
Yeah.
You know, like, but usually artists, they think, and I'm too, like, Jesus Christ, I'm not some kind of saint, I'm just super curious.
Yeah.
We think that we don't need hobbies because, oh my God, like what we do is so interesting. It makes us happy and fulfilled, but it's not true at all. It's just, yeah, sure, there are moments when you're writing your special where most of the time you'll be busy writing it.
Yeah.
But right away, you need to remember to, like, if it is, let's say, a longer term career that you are going for, no, you also need to account that if 1 month you locked yourself in and you were writing, that you will have a burnout. No, this is by definition will happen. And if after you've done that, you didn't give yourself enough break and you continue another month and another, and then you went on tour and everything, then don't be surprised that you don't have any personal life.
Yeah.
Or that, don't know, you feel lonely at night or anything else because you forgot other parts of your life. And I've been there myself, and I had moments on stage where I am dancing and I know that the bit that I'm doing is supposed to bring the buoyant joy to the audience, and everyone is kind of smiling. I feel like there is energy like that there. And I think if I move any more, I'm gonna die. I think I'm gonna die on stage. I can't do this anymore. Like, it's like,
you're not having the inner experience that you're not supposed to be, but that you maybe feel like you want to be having.
So what I'm trying to say to you is that when we are talking about structure, like, let's say if you are coming to me and you're like, hey, you know, I want to write my special, I would maybe first let's build your other, like, almost like 8 different areas of your life. Let's make sure that there is structure in those.
Wow.
And then I don't care what you do with your art. We give you 4 hours a day and that's it. It's enough. You'll get it done.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
But you also will laugh with your friends. You'll go on a trip. You'll have, don't know, you'll buy some new awesome clothing and you'll look hot. and I don't know, something else will be what satisfies you, you know?
Yeah.
And art will, trust me, it's not time, it's the quality that you put into it and joy, you know?
Yeah. I totally hear you on this. I'm like really like rethinking my life. Look, my wife is on here. Joel, please listen. I'm listening. That's what I've been trying to tell her. She says. She's been trying to tell us. You see, it's not just her, not just me either. It's her. Yeah, we're like that.
Oh yeah. I've been married to one of those awesome marriage. We did lots of good work, but like forgot about each other.
About it and everybody else, and you know, family and everything. So this has been a really great therapeutic session for me. No, I really appreciate it. We're at the 1 hour mark, so I really appreciate you, Kira, for being on the show. It's just so kind of you to jump in here and share your thoughts and your life with us. Really appreciate it.
I have exactly the same appreciation. Like I feel so flattered that you did such awesome research and that you really took your time to understand what I'm doing. Yeah. And you are a very good interviewer. You really are interested in a person, which is not always the case.
I know. Believe me, I've been interviewed myself, and I know how that is. So I appreciate it. I just try and find people that I'm very interested in, and then and then it takes care of itself, essentially. You know what I mean? So we're going to dance break now. We're going to dance it out. Wow. That's what we do at the end of every show. I'm going to play a cover song. It's an 80s tune. It's upbeat. So I won't play the whole song, but we can just dance it out. And then, so thanks so much for being on the show. I hope you'll come back sometime. I'd love to see the next iteration of what you do, and I'd love to be involved in whatever you're doing out there, because it sounds like it's really beneficial and thoughtful. Richard Gaddis says, wonderful and enlightening interview. Thank you, Joel and Kira. You're welcome, Richard. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. All right, here we go. Dance break. Yes.
What do we do?
We're going to dance.
But we have to.
Okay. Yeah, come on in. Here's to you. Wait, we gotta put ourselves on the screen. Here we go. Yeah.
Here in my car, where the image breaks down, will you visit me, please? If I open my door in cars. Here in my car, I know I've started to think about leaving tonight, although nothing seems right in cars.
All right, thanks everybody for being here. This is just a pleasure. And we'll see you all next week for more lunch therapy.
Nice.